Hey everyone, it's Miss Stefan. I hope everyone's having a good week so far and reading a lot. I saw that everyone is actually over 200 books read on Epic now. So shout out to all of you who have been logging in, reading the assignments I've given you, and then just whatever other books seem interesting to you. I'm so glad to see you guys on there and learning and growing. For the next 2 weeks, we're actually going to shift gears in the topics that we're working on. We did a lot around the solar system when we were still in school, and then in the last few weeks when we've been doing distance learning. And I think you guys have really mastered that. You have a really deep understanding of things going on in our solar systems and are now able to compare and contrast different planets. So shout out to you all for that too. In these next 2 weeks, we're going to be looking at inventors and inventions. And I just wanted to introduce this topic by looking at a current event that's happening right now. We all know the coronavirus is happening in our world, in our country, in our community. It's made us close schools, close colleges, close shopping malls, restaurants. Some people are losing their jobs. There's a lot of really terrible things going on because of the coronavirus. Some people are getting sick and losing their lives. This is a big problem in our community and in the world. So something to think about when you're thinking about inventors are that inventors usually come up with a new idea, an invention, in a way to solve a problem. So right now our problem is coronavirus is really hurting a lot of people. It's hurting them as far as getting money. It's hurting them as far as changing and disrupting their lives. And it's hurting people's health as well. So scientists right now are working so hard, and these scientists are inventors. They're trying to solve this problem. So I wanted to introduce one of our scientists in our country right now who's actually leading the research to find the cure, a vaccine, to prevent against the coronavirus. And this could change the world. So scientists are inventors. And the things that they're doing their research about become inventions. So let's just really look quickly. I'll read this article with you. Meet the outstanding 34-year-old scientist leading the charge on coronavirus vaccine trials. Kismikia Corbett works 7-day weeks, and she gets just 3 to 4 hours of sleep each night. Let's scroll down. There she is. She's one of the top researchers in our country. And let's just see a little bit about her. As coronavirus continues to spread throughout the United States, a group of scientists led by Kismakia Corbett is working around the clock toward developing a life-saving vaccine. Vaccines are the shots that you get to help prevent against illnesses. Coronavirus is a new illness, so right now we don't have any vaccines to prevent it, which is why everything's shut down right now and we have to be so careful. Corbett, 34, is a research fellow at the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland, where she and her team have already begun first-stage clinical trials of a vaccine to fight against COVID-19, according to the New York Times. The trials began in Seattle in March, and according to Dr. Anthony Fauci, it happened in record speed. It took about 2 months, a much faster turnaround than the 20 months it took to get a SARS vaccine to trial in 2003, NBC News reported. If successful, the vaccine could reportedly be ready for patients by early to mid-2021. This was and is already a fair amount of pressure. A lot of people are banking on us or feel that we have a product that could, at least, be part of the answer this world needs, Corbett told NBC News. And just saying that out loud is not easy. So I just wanted to share this because I think this is a really good real-life example of inventors in our community looking for inventions to solve problems that we see in our everyday lives. Okay? So now really quickly, again, our unit is the process of discovery and the development of inventions. Okay? And just to give you guys some vocabulary background knowledge, these are 2 words we're going to see over and over again. Probably some of you have heard them before and are already understanding from the example of our last scientist what inventor and invention mean. I just want to really explicitly and clearly go over them so you have them in your brain while you're reading the text throughout the next 2 weeks. If you want, take a minute and you could write down on a piece of paper these words and definitions and draw your own picture. And you could also try and use each one in your own sentence. This is going to be for you to keep as you go through this unit, to refer back to look back to keep reminding yourself about what these words mean. The first word is inventor. And an inventor is one who invents, especially a new device or process. An example I put here in an image, someone that I'm familiar with is Bill Gates, and he invented Microsoft. So inventors can be all different kinds of people. They could be scientists who are working on vaccines, like our last example. They could be computer scientists like Bill Gates. They could be like this person, Thomas Edison, we're about to learn about, who created a light bulb. But the one thing they all have in common is they're trying to create something new, to make something new, and it's always to solve a problem or a need in our world or in our society, okay? So take a minute, you could write that down. You could draw a picture of an inventor you know, or a picture that helps you remember the word. And then when we're done later, I want you to go back and use the word inventor in your own sentence. The next word we have is invention, okay? An invention is something invented, like a new gadget, device, machine, or method. So inventions could be all types of things. They don't have to be something very extreme or out there like a robot, like some of you might think of right away when you hear invention. They could be, but it's all kinds of things that we just use in our day-to-day lives. Our cell phones, right? We use them every day. But at some point when our parents were kids, people didn't have cell phones. They just had the regular phones connected to a landline. So these are all inventions that scientists are making to adapt to new problems or new needs. People wanted to be able to travel with their phones more easily, so people worked to create a cell phone. So I just put some examples here: a light bulb, running shoes, okay? Different tech devices. So take a minute to jot that down as well, and then you could draw a picture of any type of invention that you know about. And again, when we're done with this video, when you're done watching along, you can go ahead and use that word in your own sentence too. Okay, so just to introduce the new unit about discovery and development of inventions, here are some essential questions that you guys are going to be thinking about as we go through the videos and texts in this unit. The first is, what is the difference between an invention and an innovation? And we're going to talk about these as we go throughout the unit. I'm not going to go into detail about any of these today. This is just to give you an overview and to get your minds thinking. How has an invention been developed out of a problem or a need and eventually positively impacted society? So they're just saying, how are we creating these inventions when there's a big problem in the world? Okay, just like we were talking about coronavirus and vaccines. Right now, this virus is a big problem and it's hurting our world and our communities. So people are looking for inventions like vaccines to make life better. That means to positively impact society. Okay, and the last question is, what are some similarities and differences between the process of discovery for different inventors, and how have their unique qualities and traits led to successful inventions? So we're actually going to look at 2 different inventors over the next 2 weeks, and we're going to see what their process was like, what their lives were like, what their communities were like, and how did those similarities and differences help them to lead to successful inventions. You know, it's always good at the beginning of a unit to look at the end goal, right? Like just like a race, you're always looking for what the end goal is going to be so you can prepare. So we're going to have 2 end tasks. These are not going to be due, one until next Friday and the other the next week. So you have time. So the first, we're going to choose 2 different inventors. We're going to look at Thomas Edison and George Washington Carver. We're going to use at least 2 texts to write a 3-paragraph essay comparing and contrasting how their inventions impacted society. Okay, and we're going to go into more detail about that next week. Support your answer using details and quotes from the texts. The text will be read aloud from Epic Books, and I will walk you through this assignment and guide you to take notes about both inventors as we listen to the books together. So next week, we're going to start with the Thomas Edison book. And then at the end of the week, we're going to do the George Washington Carver book, both in read alouds, and we're going to gather notes together, okay? And then it's going to be your job at the end to do the 3-paragraph essay to compare and contrast their inventions. And that's going to be due on next Friday, 4/24/20. Finally, in the following week, you guys are going to take charge and create your own inventions. I'll be sending out a writing prompt, and I want you to think about how inventors make inventions to solve a problem or need in their communities. Write a 1 to 3 paragraph essay describing your invention and how it can make life better. Details will follow after the inventor comparison essay. So just be on the lookout for this in the following weeks. For today, just to continue and introduce the unit, I want you guys to enjoy a Storybots video. It's a really cute video, and it shows you some information to get your brains thinking and give you background information about Thomas Edison and George Washington Carver, the 2 inventors that we're going to be reading books about and gathering notes and information about next week. Go ahead and just make a quick graphic organizer or notes on your paper, one saying Thomas Edison, and the next George Washington Carver, and just leave some space below that so you could jot down any notes from the video that are interesting to you or helpful in understanding these 2 inventors. And then you could actually save those notes for our lessons next week to add on when you read the books, okay? So let's go ahead and check out our video.
Storybots. Storybots presents Great Innovator. One gloomy night in Menlo Park, Tom Edison said, "Gee, it's dark." But then he had a brilliant thought. Electric lights would help a lot. Now others too had tried their best to build a bulb that passed the test, and yet their light would never last. The glowing part burned out too fast. "I see," said Tom. "I must invent a better, stronger filament." At first he tried some metal wire, which melted, broke, or caught on fire. So next he tested strips of wood, and every single plant he could. He had to char them first, he learned, to make the glow but not get burned. Grasses, reeds, and weeds galore. He tried 6,000 kinds and more. He had some luck with cotton thread, but then he tried bamboo instead. It filled the room with dazzling rays. What's more, it lasted 50 days. And now the light bulb's golden glare is seen in houses everywhere. New York and London, France, Brazil. The bulbs keep getting better still. They light the night when day is done, all thanks to Thomas Edison. Storybots presents Great Innovator. George Washington Carver, a child of a slave, was curious, clever, ambitious, and brave. On a farm where he lived, he was eager to know about all vegetation and what made it grow. He tried to enroll at the neighborhood school, but they said, "You're not welcome. Tough luck, it's the rule." That's crazy, he thought, but it won't get me down. And he left for a school in a faraway town, where he proved right away he was smart as could be. He later completed a college degree. He became a professor, but wished to do more, so he moved to Tuskegee to work with the poor. He taught how the healthiest crops could be grown, and meanwhile he worked in a lab of his own. He studied all plant life from grasses to spruces. For peanuts, he found over 300 uses. He made peanut pancakes, he made peanut cheeses, elixirs and ointments for fighting diseases, charcoal, linoleum, plastics and glue, hand lotion, soap, even peanut shampoo. He made peanut butter for mixing with jams, and then did more wonders with soybeans and yams. His remarkable talent for flair and invention soon brought him the nation's admiring attention. But praises and fame never went to his head. He was always devoted to learning instead. He never had much, yet he reached for the sky. George Washington Carver was one brilliant guy.
Okay, so thank you guys for watching. That was our Storybots video telling us about Thomas Edison and George Washington Carver. So that's everything for today's lesson. You guys got to see a current inventor in our society working to tackle the problem of coronavirus. You got to check out and get a little background information about Thomas Edison and George Washington Carver. And you're starting your brains thinking about these essential questions about inventions, innovation, inventors, and problems and needs in our societies, and how inventions actually can positively change those things. Okay? So remember, take your notes, keep them ready, and then be on the lookout for the next lesson when we're going to start our first book about Thomas Edison. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.